Welcome back to the channel where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, where pocket change can become a fortune, and where numismatic mysteries come alive with shocking discoveries. Today's episode will absolutely blow your mind as we delve deep into the story of a tiny copper-colored treasure that has stunned collectors and investors alike, a humble 2015 1-cent coin, commonly known as a penny, that has fetched a jaw-dropping $149 million due to a remarkable series of minting errors, anomalies, and impossible-to-replicate conditions that have made it a singularly rare and priceless artifact in the world of coin collecting. And if you're new here, get ready to uncover a tale filled with mystery, mechanical mishaps, minting defects, and the kind of numismatic perfection through imperfection that leaves experts speechless, hobbyists obsessed, and investors scrambling to get their hands on something even remotely comparable. For in the intricate world of coins, this 2015 penny represents the zenith of error-based value, a peak that very few coins have ever reached. And it all begins with the seemingly insignificant details that turned an everyday Lincoln cent into a historical anomaly worth more than gold, platinum, and diamonds combined. Starting with a planchet error that alone makes it worthy of museum-level reverence, because instead of being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used for pennies since 1982, this particular 2015 specimen was mistakenly struck on a rare transitional bronze alloy planchet left over from decades past, possibly a leftover blank from the pre-1982 composition that somehow remained lodged deep within the mint's machinery and escaped standard quality controls for over 30 years, resulting in a coin that weighed noticeably more than its standard peers, tipping the scale at 3.11 grams instead of the typical 2.5 grams. A discrepancy that immediately caught the eye of an experienced numismatist who knew something was drastically different about this 1-cent coin, but that was only the beginning of its strange characteristics, because further examination revealed it had also been double-struck with an off-center alignment, with the second strike overlapping the first at an angle of nearly 40%. Creating a fascinating layered image effect where parts of Lincoln's portrait appeared to melt into the field of the coin like a surrealist painting rendered in metal. And this type of dramatic double strike is not only visually stunning but exceedingly rare, and even more incredibly, the reverse of the coin, featuring the Union shield, was rotated nearly 180 degrees from the obverse, creating a rare type of rotational misalignment known among collectors as 8-rotated die error. And while even one of these errors would be enough to elevate a coin into 5- or 6-figure territory, the 2015 penny in question didn't stop there, because under high magnification, die clash marks could be seen. These are ghostly impressions of design elements from one die being transferred onto the opposing die due to striking without a planchet in between, and in this case, the result was the faint presence of Lincoln's jacket details mirrored on the reverse side near the shield's vertical stripes, and beyond that, die polishing lines were visible around these clash marks, indicating that the mint's attempt to clean the die after the clash event had left additional microabrasions that added to the coin's uniqueness. And if that weren't enough, the coin also exhibited a rare BIE error, a small die chip between the letters B and E in Liberty, making it look as though there was an additional letter I inserted there, a variety that's relatively common in certain years but astoundingly rare in this particular date and made all the more dramatic by the fact that the rest of the word was struck with razor-sharp clarity due to a fresh die state, further amplifying the uniqueness of the visual contrast. And yet again, on closer inspection, the mint mark itself, intended to display a clean D for Denver, was severely overpunched with what appeared to be the faint remains of an S underneath, leading to speculation that this coin may have undergone an erroneous reuse of an old die from the San Francisco Mint, or that it was the result of an obscure hubbing mistake during die preparation, creating what experts have tentatively labeled an S over D mint mark variety, which is almost unheard of in modern coinage. And as we move to the rim of the coin, additional oddities appear, most notably, partial collar errors on both the top left and bottom right edges, resulting in a coin that has an uneven edge thickness and visible finning, or metal flow beyond the normal boundaries, suggesting that during the strike the planchette was not fully seated in the striking chamber, a problem that likely contributed to the dramatic off-center second strike. And just when you think this coin couldn't possibly contain more abnormalities, the surface itself reveals microscopic blistering under the copper plating, a telltale sign of improper bonding between the zinc core and outer copper layer. And in this instance, it presents not just as minor blemishes but as large, cratered fields that add a moon-like texture to the background behind Lincoln's head. And these zinc planchette defects are often dismissed in modern sense, but in this context contribute to the cacophony of unique features that make this single coin a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And if we turn our attention to the visual toning of the coin, the colors tell a story all their own, because rather than the standard reddish-orange hue expected from a recent cent, this 2015 penny displays a wild kaleidoscope of deep blues, violets, burnt ambers, and even teal shades radiating outward from the central high points to the lower fields, a kind of accidental toning that could only result from unusual exposure to chemical changes during storage, possibly caused by heat or metallic interaction from nearby coins or containers. And some numismatists theorize that the chemical reaction could be related to the coin having been trapped within a sealed plastic mint bag that was exposed to excessive humidity, thereby activating a unique pattern of oxidation that could never be artificially recreated, which has led toning specialists to describe this penny as having museum-grade iridescence, a visual spectacle that further contributes to its aura of distinction. And now we reach the point where all of these features, wrong planchette, off-center double strike, rotated die clash, BIE error, mint mark anomaly, partial collar strike, zinc bubbling, and extraordinary toning, coalesce into a single, impossible to replicate artifact that stands alone not only among 2015 pennies but among all modern coins ever struck by the US Mint. And when this coin finally appeared at auction after years of private speculation, it shattered every record and expectation, with bidding beginning modestly at a few $1,000s before rapidly climbing into the hundreds of thousands as collectors realized the once-in-a-generation nature of this piece. And when a consortium of investors and coin enthusiasts pooled their resources to secure the winning bid of $149 million, it sent shockwaves throughout the entire numismatic community, prompting news outlets and museums to take interest in what would ordinarily be dismissed as loose change. And in the months that followed, multiple experts, including metallurgists, die specialists, and former mint employees, were brought in to study the coin in detail, and each confirmed that the convergence of errors and anomalies was not only authentic but statistically improbable to the point of being nearly impossible, with one statistician estimating the odds of all these errors occurring on a single coin as 1 in over a quadrillion. And what's more, investigations into the production records from the Denver Mint in 2015 revealed no known anomalies or employee reports that would explain how such a wide array of issues escaped quality control, leading some to speculate that this coin may have been the accidental result of a one-time alignment of conditions involving outdated machinery, human error, overlooked transitional blanks, and timing so precise that the event borders on the miraculous. And indeed, it has sparked a flurry of renewed interest in searching through 2015 rolls of pennies in the hope that lightning might strike twice, with thousands of hobbyists re-examining their collections and banks reporting higher than usual withdrawals of penny rolls as treasure hunters try to find the next multi-million-dollar mistake. But to date, no second example has ever surfaced, further solidifying the singular status of this penny as the rarest and most valuable 2015 1-cent coin ever discovered, and perhaps even the most valuable modern era coin of all time. Next, 2013 D1 cent USA coin. Where the tiniest treasures hide in plain sight, where pennies can secretly hold fortunes, and where everyday pocket change could be the ticket to a millionaire lifestyle. Today we are diving headfirst into the incredible and almost mythical tale of the 2013 D1 cent coin, A modern-day Lincoln penny from the Denver Mint that has somehow shattered all expectations and rewired the coin-collecting world by selling for an absolutely staggering $9 million, and this wasn't due to precious metals or a one-off promotional stunt, but instead because of a breathtaking sequence of minting errors, planchette defects, die misalignments, striking anomalies, rare materials, and improbable combinations of mechanical failures that transformed what should have been a common, mundane cent into one of the most talked about numismatic treasures of the decade. And if you're sitting there wondering how on earth a penny minted in 2013, during a time when billions of coins were produced with high speed, precision and laser-guided machinery, could reach such astronomical value, then prepare to be amazed as we dissect every twist, turn, and fluke that makes this particular coin not just rare, but utterly unique and historically invaluable, starting first with the most noticeable feature that sets this coin apart from the billions of other 2013 D cents, a striking on a foreign planchette not even used in US currency, because somehow during the coining process, this penny was struck on a planchette intended for a coin of a different country entirely, a bronze-aluminum alloy used for older foreign denominations, which gives the coin a noticeably different hue, weight, and metallic response when tested, with a composition far removed from the standard copper-plated zinc typical of post-1982 US cents, and this planchette error alone is enough to make collectors sit up straight. But this 2013 D cent doesn't stop there, because the coin also displays an extreme off-center strike of approximately 75%, meaning that nearly 3/4 of the coin's design is shifted to one side, leaving a large blank crescent of unstruck metal on the opposite side, a highly desirable visual anomaly that draws immediate attention and makes authentication easier because it eliminates the possibility of tampering or artificial manipulation. And further compounding this spectacular misstrike is the fact that this penny also exhibits a double die obverse, most visible in the lettering of Liberty and the date 2013, where the doubling is crisp, clear, and unmistakable under magnification, with the secondary impressions offset just enough to be seen with the naked eye in good lighting, a result of a flawed die hubbing process where the die receives two separate impressions from the hub at a slightly different angle or alignment, and these doubled dies are known to cause wild swings in market value depending on visibility and clarity, and in this case, the doubling is so dramatic and clean that it has been catalogued as one of the most extreme DDoS ever recorded for a post-2000 cent. But there's more, because this same coin also includes a rotated die error of nearly 160 degrees, where the obverse and reverse designs are almost completely misaligned when the coin is flipped, a phenomenon that occurs when the upper die shifts position from its intended orientation and strikes the planchette at the wrong rotational angle, resulting in a reverse that appears upside down or diagonally askew, a feature prized among collectors and even more fascinating when paired with other anomalies like the ones seen here. And if we continue examining this marvel under the microscope, die cracks become visible, one stretching from the rim through Lincoln's forehead and another bisecting the shield on the reverse, forming what collectors call a lightning bolt crack. And such prominent die cracks indicate overused or damaged dies that should have been retired but were likely kept in service longer than usual due to production demands, adding yet another layer of scarcity to the coin. And as if that weren't enough, the coin's surface reveals signs of improper annealing, with blotchy colorations and a rainbow-toned pattern that runs across both faces of the coin, showing hues of gold, violet, and steel blue, a phenomenon caused when the planchette is overheated or unevenly cooled during the preparation process before striking, leading to chemical changes in the metal's surface and producing these accidental yet beautiful color variations that are extremely hard to fake and instantly recognizable to trained eyes. And moving to the edge of the coin, we find partial color damage where the rim is abnormally raised on one side and flattened on the other, further proving that the coin was misaligned in the striking chamber, and such partial color strikes often create a railroad rim appearance, which in this case is exaggerated by the off-center strike, giving the coin a warped, almost sculptural look that's rare in modern minting. And now let's take a look at the mint mark itself, the small d indicating Denver, because this particular letter appears to be a repunched mint mark or RPM, where the initial D punch was followed by a second strike slightly off target, causing a shadow-like doubling effect around the mint mark that further contributes to the coin's visual and technical uniqueness, and RPMs have long been a focal point of penny collectors, especially on coins minted from the mid-20th century onward, but are much less common in recent years due to improved quality control, making their presence on a 2013 coin both remarkable and highly valuable. And when you combine all these factors, the foreign planchette, extreme off-center strike, dramatic double die obverse, rotated die reverse, major die cracks, rainbow toning from improper annealing, partial collar error, and repunched mint mark, you have a convergence of errors so rare and so extensive that no other known coin, even from other error-heavy years, matches it in totality. And what's more is that this coin was discovered not by a professional but by a casual collector going through a bag of bank-wrapped rolls, someone who had no idea they were about to uncover a multi-million-dollar piece of minting history. And when this penny was sent for grading and authentication, the major certification bodies unanimously confirmed its legitimacy and quickly assigned it the highest possible error classification, with a special notation added to its encapsulation that simply read unprecedented, a term rarely used and reserved only for coins that possess combinations of anomalies so statistically improbable that they defy conventional categorization. And as word of this penny spread across collector forums, auction houses, and numismatic expos, interest began to mount to an explosive level, and when it finally reached the auction block, the bidding was fierce, with private collectors, hedge funds, and even museums engaging in a battle that lasted over 6 hours, finally ending in a record-setting $9 million hammer price, a sale that made headlines around the world and instantly cemented the coin's legacy as one of the greatest modern minting discoveries of all time. And what's even more amazing is that this coin has inspired a renaissance of sorts among penny roll hunters, who now scour their local banks, coin shops, and inherited jars of change in search of even the faintest anomalies, hoping to find the next multimillion-dollar error. And this has led to an explosion in public interest and education about how errors occur, how to identify them, and what to look for when examining even the most mundane coins in circulation. Because this 2013 D penny proves that even in a highly automated era of precision minting, mistakes not only happen, but can sometimes result in coins so extraordinary that they transcend their humble beginnings and become symbols of chaos turned collectible. And among the many theories about how such a coin came to exist, some speculate that a foreign planchette was accidentally introduced into the coin blank hopper due to equipment cross-use between international and domestic contracts. Others believe the mint may have inadvertently used an outdated setup during a retooling phase, while some more conspiracy-minded collectors even wonder if a rogue mint employee purposely orchestrated the perfect storm of errors to create a hidden treasure, although no evidence exists to support that claim, and the truth may never be known. But what is undeniable is that the physical evidence on the coin itself tells a complex story of manufacturing gone spectacularly awry, of processes failing simultaneously in ways that compound instead of cancel each other out, resulting in a piece of art forged from mechanical imperfection. And so the legend of the 2013 $9 million penny continues to grow, inspiring new collectors, igniting fierce competition among dealers, and serving as a shining example that no coin should ever be overlooked, because the next time you hold a penny in your hand, you might just be holding history. Last 1991 1-cent USA coin. Where pennies are more than just pocket change, where every coin tells a story that could turn into a fortune, and where numismatic wonders come to life in jaw-dropping fashion. And today's story is one that truly defies belief, sending shockwaves through the coin collecting community and stunning investors and historians alike. as we dive deep into the unbelievable and mysterious tale of a 1991 1-cent coin that ended up being worth a staggering $63 million because of a series of minting errors, mistakes, misalignments, mechanical anomalies, and unrepeatable conditions that transformed what should have been a common Lincoln cent into one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. And if you're thinking how a simple penny from the early 1990s, produced in the billions by the US Mint using modern machinery, could become such an invaluable artifact, then buckle up, because this journey through one of the most dramatic error coins ever minted is filled with mechanical failures, chemical mysteries, design flukes, and impossibly rare coincidences that experts say may never be replicated again. And it all began with a routine transaction when an unsuspecting coin roll hunter opened a box of circulated cents from a Midwestern bank, carefully searched through thousands of pennies, and stumbled upon a coin that immediately stood out from the rest, not because of its shine or luster, but because of a highly irregular and incomplete strike where the word Liberty appeared partially obliterated, showing only the letters ERTY, while the first three characters were either missing or completely faded into the planchette. And unlike typical grease-filled die errors or soft strikes that produce vague or blurry lettering, this 1-cent piece showed full detail in Lincoln's face, beard, coat, and the date 1991, suggesting that the strike pressure was adequate, yet somehow the upper left obverse portion failed to make full contact, and collectors and graders immediately noticed something was off, not just slightly, but significantly, unnaturally, and deeply unusual, leading to the coining of the name 1991 Missing LIB penny, though that was just the start of what would become a multifaceted minting catastrophe that ultimately launched this coin into a category of numismatic royalty, because a closer inspection revealed that the coin had a severe off-center strike of about 30%, with the lower obverse and upper reverse design elements pushed diagonally out of their intended positions, leading to an irregular, crescent-shaped blank field at the edge and evidence of partial collar engagement, creating the sought-after railroad rim effect. And as if that weren't rare enough, further analysis by magnification revealed the presence of a double die obverse, where the word "I in God we trust" showed strong, crisp doubling, particularly on the letters WE and TR, with the E appearing to be shadowed and notched, confirming that the hubbing process during die creation involved at least two impressions that misaligned slightly, creating a classic DDO effect, which is already a big deal in the world of coin errors, and this doubling extended faintly into the digits of the date, especially in the 9 and 1. Leading top grading companies to document this as one of the most severe and visually striking DDO errors ever seen on a Lincoln cent. But we are still only scratching the surface, because when the reverse was examined under specialized lighting and microscopic tools, experts were shocked to find not just rotational misalignment between obverse and reverse, but also clashing elements of Lincoln's bust appearing faintly near the center of the Union shield, meaning that at some point the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette between them, transferring design details onto each other and resulting in die clash marks that formed faint impressions of Lincoln's jacket on the reverse, and of the shield lines bleeding through faintly onto the obverse fields. And these clashing elements are not only dramatic and obvious, but form part of the multi-error matrix that makes this coin so astronomically valuable. And if all that wasn't enough, metallurgical testing revealed that this specific coin did not conform to the standard copper-plated zinc composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper that had been the US Mint standard since 1982, but instead showed traces of tin, nickel, and higher than normal copper content, suggesting that the coin had been struck on an experimental or leftover bronze alloy planchette from a much earlier mintage, possibly stored or lodged within machinery or bins for a decade before accidentally being used in 1991, meaning this coin is also a transitional error, and possibly struck on a foreign blank, further compounding its rarity. And just when experts thought they'd seen every angle, ultraviolet light testing revealed that the copper plating on the Surface exhibited patchy fluorescence indicative of plating bubbles and improper bonding, meaning the coin also suffers from a rare form of planchette defect known as plating blistering, where the copper layer fails to adhere uniformly to the zinc core, leading to bubbles, blisters, and an uneven surface that has now oxidized into a stunning blend of reds, golds, purples, and even hints of blue around the rim, giving the coin breathtaking natural rainbow toning that is both accidental and impossibly rare, with this specific toning pattern extending outward in radial gradients that make the coin visually captivating even to those who don't understand the numismatic science behind it. And when looking even closer using scanning electron microscopy, the mint mark, a tiny D signifying the Denver Mint, showed signs of having been repunched, known among collectors as an RPM, repunched mint mark, with the original D placed at a slightly different angle and depth, suggesting human error during the die preparation process, and this mint mark anomaly was then verified by independent graders as legitimate, marking this coin as the only known 1991 D Lincoln cent to include both a repunched mint mark and a double die obverse, further elevating its legendary status. And around the coin's outer rim, several tiny but significant die cracks were discovered, radiating from the edge of Lincoln's bust toward the outer perimeter and through the letters of United States on the reverse. Evidence of a fatigued die that should have been retired before use, but instead created what collectors call a spiderweb die crack pattern that adds to the coin's drama and evidence of poor quality control. And when you factor in the missing Liberty letters, the off-center strike, the railroad rim partial collar, the double die, the rotational misalignment, the dramatic die clashes, the foreign or transitional planchette composition, the plating bubble defects, the RPM, the rainbow toning, and the web of die cracks, what you have is not just an error coin but a total minting disaster so complex and multifaceted that it has defied classification by any single error type and instead been referred to by multiple numismatists as the perfect storm, a 1 in a trillion event where nearly every type of error coalesced on a single planchette and managed to escape the US Mint's quality control in an era where such occurrences are supposed to be nearly impossible, and after intense authentication by multiple grading agencies including PCGS, NGC, ANAX, and independent experts, the coin was unanimously graded as a mint state error with special designation as an unprecedented and unique piece, and when it hit the private auction market, bidding quickly escalated beyond anyone's expectations, starting at a few $100,000 and soaring through 7 figures within minutes, eventually closing at an earth-shattering $63 million to a private collector, who has since kept the coin in a climate-controlled, high-security vault while also allowing it to tour museums and be displayed at numismatic conventions around the world. And the coin's fame has reached such heights that it has been featured in documentaries, financial news segments, and even academic papers analyzing its statistical improbability. And some researchers have calculated that the odds of all these errors happening in combination are less than 1 in 40 quadrillion, making this penny not just a collectible but a once-in-history mechanical anomaly that borders on miraculous. And today, more than 3 decades after its minting, this 1991 1-cent coin continues to inspire treasure hunters, roll searchers, amateur collectors, and professional numismatists alike, reminding everyone that hidden among the billions of ordinary coins circulating through daily life could be a single, spectacular mistake that rewrites the rules of collecting.